Levi, talk to me a little bit about how traction and control is important to you in your riding career with being a snowcross racer and freestyler.
You know, traction control has been a huge element for all of my racing career and my freestyle career and on into all of the different projects, the things we've done, because, you know, traction control is how you can, it allows you to put the sled where you want to put it. Yeah. Whether it's the traction of the studs or the screws that you're running, you're able to hook up to get to, you know, through the icy turns on a snowcross track, or even for me in freestyle on the AstroTurf, the screws in the track being able to keep me from spinning to do a backflip. So it's been a really huge element in all that we've done throughout my career.
I mean, you really need that precision, right? Because when you need traction, you need it now. You can't afford to be spinning the track at the wrong time. I mean, I can imagine that would get a little bit unnerving if you're trying to do a backflip, right?
Absolutely. You know, making sure that you have traction when you need it is key. And when you're going in, you know, like you said, to do a backflip, you don't want that thing spinning. You don't want any crazy variable because you're doing enough crazy already. So it's really key to have traction in the front and the rear.
And I mean, for you, you've been using Woody's product for a long time. So talk to me a little bit, maybe, how did you get involved with Woody's? Like way back when?
Woody's has been awesome. It's like, Woody's was our first like official sponsor. You know, when I was a little kid, or early in my career, I remember sending in my resume. And, you know, back then it was like, I always went, I'm like, okay, I want to be with the best guys. So you send the resumes to all the big guys and you just sit there like, I hope this works. And I remember getting a letter back from Woody saying we were accepted on the 50/50 program, which is like their entry-level sponsorship program.
That was big news back then. Like that.
Huge, yeah. Huge, right? For me, I'm like, oh my goodness, we did it. Woody's is on board. So I got my Woody's stickers on my sleds. And, you know, it was just such a cool thing. And to be with Woody's from those early years all the way through my career and now into owning the team, it's like, it's been really cool, and Woody's will always have a special place with me because of that.
Now, for the products that you guys are using, you've got some pretty crazy studs on your sleds, like hollow, you know, big long hollow ones and things like that. But, you know, Woody's has definitely taken the knowledge that they've gained on the track and applied it for trail riders. You know, that's something that you can clearly see.
That's like the coolest thing is like they're learning all these different things in these extreme conditions of racing on ice, on snowcross, and they're applying that to the normal rider who's out on the trail and making those products better. So I mean, that's such a win-win. You know, it's helping us go faster on the track, and it's helping the trail rider and just the performance guy have a better experience out on the trail.
And you're a trail guy yourself as well. I mean, we've experienced it. We've ridden together. So talk to me about how, you know, we know that traction and control is super important on the track and in the freestyle stuff that you're doing, but it's pretty important for trail riders too, right?
I would say it's even more important. You know, one of the biggest things with trail riding is when you have traction control products, it's keeping you safe out on the trail. Mm-hmm. Not only can you perform better, if you're that aggressive rider and you like kind of ripping down the trail, it's going to help you there. But the main thing, and this goes for all trail riders, is you come into a corner when it's icy, and if you don't have traction control products, the difference is you might be going off into the woods or carving that turn.
It prevents the unexpected.
Exactly, and that's the key element. Is if, you know, a lot of people shy away from studs simply because they think it's this big process putting them in, which it's really not that big of a deal. And the benefit is when you come into that turn and you don't realize that it's all ice, it keeps you're able to slow down. You won't even know the difference because you're like, oh cool, I just slowed and did the turn like normal. Yeah. Whereas if you don't have it, that's you either blowing straight off the turn, or if there's an oncoming driver, who knows what will happen.
Yeah, and I mean, if you skid sideways, you just don't have the reaction time to save that thing before it's flipping, and maybe you get into a barrel roll, which can be pretty dangerous.
Right, exactly. The unexpected ice is like probably the biggest hurdle that everyone runs into. And not only, we were talking a lot about studs, but even carbide. You got a good set of carbide. I mean, regardless if you can slow down, if you can't turn when you hit that ice, you're still going off that turn. So you have to couple those studs with some good carbide. And one of the things that's overlooked is checking your carbide. You know, we think of it as like...
They are a wear item.
Yeah, you know, it's a wear item. So it's like we put them on and you're like, sweet, got my carbide done, I'm good forever. And you're like, No, you got to check those. I mean, it's just like tires on your car. They're going to wear out.
Yeah, and you might have to check them every ride too. If you're early season and you're knocking off of rocks, or you've got to cross asphalt and you're grinding those things away, or clicking them off of railroad tracks. We just got back on a ride. We must have crossed 15 sets of railroad tracks, and you just hear those things clicking away.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to break a chunk of carbide out of there, or even bend the whole wear bar itself, and that's going to throw off your handling crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that's overlooked is no one thinks about that time when you get that little jolt when you hit a rock or you hit something hard. I mean, it can bend that wear bar, and if that happens, then all of a sudden, you know, that thing's looking
Crazy darty.
Yeah, crazy dart, and it's running all over the place, which is going to reflect on your performance. You're not going to be able to turn. It's going to feel different, and ultimately, when you have that additional variable where you don't know what it's going to do, that's when accidents happen.
Yeah, and if you figure out too late that you needed more traction to get slowed down before you go off the trail in an unpredictable way, it's too late at that time.
Right. And that's you don't want to be in that spot.
No, that's a bad spot to be.